you guys for joining to this session. Welcome you all. So this is my first time attending to a promotion summit, so I'm quite excited right now. Well, today I'm going to be talking about how to grow your subscription-based app in a profitable way. So as I said that this is my first time being here, I would like to start with meeting first. This is Seda speaking. I am coordinator of growth marketing team, and I've been working in madduck for 2.5 years now. Oops, sorry about that. So we mentioned madduck. Let's meet with madduck as well. Madduck is an app studio began its journey with a clear focus on developing and publishing iOS apps, specifically non-gaming and the subscription-based apps. Once we realized that our apps gain a significant success within a short term, we also realized the potential to leverage our marketing expertise and financial resources by partnering with the apps from all around the world would be beneficial. On the other hand, we developed our own in-house tool to enhance our publishing operations. Thus, madduck is a tech company, an app studio, and also publisher dedicated on iOS apps. Okay, so these are the numbers that come from Sensor Towers. Well, we're talking about 1.8 million apps that generated over than 52 billion revenue this year from the App Store. Well, these are only estimations, by the way, as we are not done with the 2024 yet. Anyways, but as you can see, the numbers are rough, and it's clear to be seen that the competition is super high. And sadly, only 8% of the app can generate revenue on the App Store. On the other hand, less than 1% of the app can generate over than $1,000 this year from the App Store. So it is rough numbers, so let's be fair, guys. We are doing a hard job, really hard job. So question, do you think that, is there any exact way to have success within the app business? Except that this is a silly question. I didn't even have an accept to have an answer. Well, but I'm going to be talking about some logical and basic steps in order to grow and scale your apps. I believe most of you guys already know, but there are some important points that I wanted to mention. These are going to be super important for the rest of the session, though. So let's start. Well, we have to start with the analyzing market first. We have to find out the unmet needs or a new capability to solve the problem, to solve the market's problem, of course, with a decent code-based app. While doing that, we're going to make sure that the app should have a good and user-friendly interface so that user come inside the app, use it easily, and decide to stay in the app. Well, that means you'll be able to retain your user within your app. So we are kind of done with the production part. This is last but not least. It is time for increasing the organic numbers for organic installations for your app, which means invest in ASO is actually quite important here. So let's jump to the sixth one. Sorry about that. It wasn't me. So let's jump to the sixth one. So as we are in a business, spend money to make more money, we have to give a little bit of push to the particular app that you believe in it is actually worth to it, is mandatory. So invest in paid marketing, quite important. The seventh one, LTV. Let's say LTV is the biggest deal within the app business. Basically, we have to maximize it, and this is the thing that we are going to go into the details in the session later on. But let's mention a couple of important things about LTV at the very first place. Okay, basically, we have to do A/B test as much as possible until we find the best version of the pricing models or modeling styles and the paywall designs in order to have your LTV in the maximized way, which is quite important. Well, let's jump to another biggest deal, which is retention. So retention is actually retaining user within the app after you gain them. So gaining new user is important, but let's say retaining user is also important in app business. Let's say higher retention, longer stay in the app, and this is the quite important component of having high LTV. So the conclusion one, which is the ninth one, improve app. What I mean by improving app is continuously improve the experience within the app and kill the friction points. Well, it's basic, but how to do that? of course, you have to be watching the feedbacks that's coming from user, because these feedbacks going to give you a great hint about what is going on within your app. Sometimes you're gonna understand what is the exact pain point so that you're gonna detect it and fix the friction once. So you'll make your user more satisfied with the values of your app. On the other hand, sometimes these feedbacks going to give you great hints about what are the new capabilities. So once you find out the new capabilities while you're watching these feedbacks, then you'll add a new feature within your app. So either way, you're gonna make your user more satisfied with the key features and the key values of the app, of your app. So if they are more satisfied, then they're gonna stay in the app longer. So bingo, you have your retention at its highest. If you have a high retention, so you'll have maximized LTV. So as you can see that, there is a continuous process running here. But let's face it is no longer a mission a solo developer can tackle the entire process alone. I would like to divide this process into two. For the first 4 steps, you can be relied on your development team. But once you jump into the second 4 steps, you have to be relied on marketing and subscription management teams. And let's say this, there is a one joint effort going in app business, and this is the key for having a success in the app business. So we really trust in the power of this joint effort in madduck. So we have accumulated a lot of expertise over the year that we collected. We partnered with the apps from all around the world. We collected a lot of know-how here. With these know-hows and the expertise that we collected within the years, we came to this session with some significant takeaways. Please take a look at those takeaways that we are going to go into the details at this session. But before I start to talk about them, let me mention what exactly you are going to gain from this session. First of all, you're going to understand what are the 3 indicators to grow and scale your apps. On the other hand, you're going to find out some true north stars to have a strong performance. Well, before we start to talk about the takeaways, let me show you this diagram that represents our customer funnel in madduck. If we want to take a picture, it is actually quite important, but we have no time to explain this from top to the bottom as we have limited time here. Let me simplify it for you. Don't mess with me, but this is the most simple version of this huge diagram. Well, as you can see, the funnel starts with the impression. Let's say, if the keywords that you run for is related enough with the value of your app. On the other hand, if the creative is enough convincing and engaging for the user, you will make your user click on the ads. If you have a successful click, then you'll drive your user from the particular marketing channel to your app store. Well, so ASO comes into game at this point. If you have strong enough product page, then you'll make your user install the app. Among installation and engagement, there are some couple important items to encourage user to start a trial. Let's say that onboarding, quite important, and pricing model that you use, and also the payable designs. And if you offer any kind of discounts, and if you're showing some countdowns, will be super convincing, and the special offers. So, anyways, if everything goes well, you'll make your users start a trial, and this is the time that your user is actually experiencing the value and the key features of your app. Let's say, if everything goes well, so good news, you have new subscriber and you created your acquisition cost right now. The thing that you have to focus on is you have to retain the user to have a high level of LTV. It's quite important. So I'm jumping to takeaways right now. Let's start with the first one. So before I start, I'm saying we are going to be talking about 4 takeaways, and which is the first one, revenues, craftable. So one reliable indicator to have a strong performance is unrelated with proceeds, net marketing, revenue. Metrics like MRR, MTR can be misleading us here. Since we are in spend money to make more money business, short-time earnings can be less significant. So what is truly matter here? The truly matter is generating revenue in the long run, which is quite important. Another question is, then what is the true North Star here? The true North Star, madduck comes with the answer to this question is PLTV, predicted LTV. Well, most of you guys already know, I know, but let's say predicted LTV is the revenue that you're going to generate from one single user in the long run. It's quite an important metric because it's going to give you great hints about the feature of your app, if it is worth to try, if it is worth to focus, if it is worth to invest on it. On the other hand, more critically, you have to maintain the balance between your LTV and the customer acquisition cost if you want to have profitable results. Well, of course, this ratio must be above 1 if you want to gain profit from the job you did. So based on our experience under the customer acquisition cost, you have to maximize paid user while minimizing the paid costs here. On the other hand, the LTV, as you know, the most strong component of LTV is the lifetime. Well, you have to maximize both LTV and the value here. So we are kind of done with the first takeaway. Oops, sorry. So you have always interrupt me during my session, though. You don't have to wait until the end of my speech if you have any questions. But this is time for the second takeaway, which is give user a chance to try. Well, of course, I'm talking about the trial process right now. Let's say a trial process can make huge difference to drive user, to encourage user to be subscribers. It is a strong strategy to showcase user the value of the app, because eventually encourage user to conversion, to engagement. Since it's an important strategy, we have to understand how to do that in an accurate way. Well, I'm going to break it down into a few steps here. Well, first of all, limit the duration of the trial in the right way. Well, of course, I'm talking about how long it should be. 1 day, 3 days, 7 days. Of course, it is strongly depends on the nature of your app. But let's say, critically, the chosen time step should give user enough time to understand key values and the key features of the app. But on the other hand, it shouldn't be too long because we don't want the user lose their attention, lose their interest with using app. On the other hand, another important item to encourage user to start trial or make them direct subscribers is onboarding. Well, we have to use it, basically, because highlighting the key features of the app on the onboarding before the user faced with the paywall is quite important, because it obviously encourages user to start a trial. But do not assume that user can figure out how to use the app by themselves. Please guide them on the onboarding with highlighting the key features and the key values of the app. Tap the about them. This is quite important. So let's jump to the third item, which is importance of A/B tests. Well, we already mentioned the importance of A/B tests while we were talking about the LTV a little bit. Let's say it again. We have to do A/B test as much as we can until we find the best version of the pricing models that we are going to be using, and the onboarding styles and the paywall designs, positioning them, like how many times that the user will face with the paywall within the app. Understand these items will provide you maximize LTV eventually. Okay, it's accepted. A/B test is critical thing, but what are the key points with doing A/B test? First of all, limit the duration of your A/B test based on the targeted audience or the country that you run for. Secondly, and most importantly, please be patient with the results that coming from your A/B test, because you have to wait till you collect enough subscription numbers for per item that's running under A/B test. Because if you take an early decision with the low level of subscription numbers, I'm sorry, but this decision would most probably misleading you here. So let's jump to the final and the last item, which is, well, we have to watch the journey of the user within the trial process. One important metric comes into mind at this point is TTS, trial to subscription ratio. Let's say this. Actually, this metric is going to give you a great clue about what is going on within your app. So if this TTS ratio is high enough for you, then great job. You did a great work. So your user is actually satisfied with the values of your app. But on the other hand, if this TTS metric is lower than your expectation or less than the benchmarks, I'm sorry, I have bad news. Most probably there is something wrong with your app. Maybe you have to do some significant changes within your app. Have to understand what to do. Of course, as we said, we have to watch the feedbacks because these feedbacks are going to drive you on the exactly friction point so that you'll be able to fix them. So we're kind of done with the second one. Before I jump to the third one, I would like to do a quick exercise with you here. Okay, so these numbers are based on a true story, by the way. I took these numbers from one of our apps, which is Flick. Flick is an interview recorder app. So as you can see, there are two different paywalls running under one A/B test. Okay, can you tell me which variant is actually performing better here? And please focus on the ITS ratio, which is installed to subscription. Any answer? The one you say? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. Okay, so the second, so you're saying that paywall variant is actually performing better, right? Yeah, thank you for answering. Yeah, it's actually the second one. Okay, accepted. And a good answer, actually, because there is a limited knowledge here. So in the selected periods, okay, so what we said we have to be patient and wait till we collect enough subscription numbers. So in the selected 2 days periods, we don't really know how many subscribers that we collected for per items that running under A/B test. So I'm sorry, there is lack of data here. So now you know the subscription numbers. So let's see, for the same 2 days selected periods, we have collected only 11 subscribers for default paywall and 13 subscribers for paywall variant A. So if you take a decision in this early with these numbers, you will probably say the second one is actually performing better. Okay, that's accepted, but I'm sorry, but this is literally low level of subscription numbers to take a decision. Now I would like to take you to the end of the A/B test, and can you please tell me which variant is actually performing, which variant is winner here? Default one, right? So it is fair to mention again, please do not jump into the conclusion early because you have to have enough subscription number. Well, the good question might be at this point, what I mean by enough subscription numbers, right? Okay, so it is hard to give you an exact benchmark here because it strongly depends on the nature of your A/B tests. Well, you have to create your own benchmark here. So based on our experience, we do wait, at least we collect 100 subscriber for per item that we run under the A/B test. Okay, so after this quick exercise, thank you for joining my exercise. I'm jumping to the third takeaway, which is do not hesitate to invest. Well, since we are in spend money to make more money business, spending on the particular app that you believe in it is actually worth to it is mandatory. It is important to give a little bit of push to the particular app to increase its visibility, because once it gain enough visibility, you will be able to deduct the pain points on the line. Well, what I mean by that, I would like to explain myself by giving an example to you guys. Sometimes you're going to face these kind of scenarios, like you're going to have high TTR, which is good scenario. But on the other hand, from the same job, you're going to have high CPI, which is the bad scenario. But that means you drive your user from the particular marketing channels to your app store successfully, but for some reasons, user do not install the app. So there might be a couple of pain points here. First of all, maybe you weren't able to find out the exact audience that's matched with the value of your app. On the other hand, maybe the pain point might be your product page. So you have to increase the value of product page here. What to do? Of course, you have to run A/B test for your product page to increase its value. Well, but we are not living a fairy tale. This is a real life. Sometimes you're gonna try a bunch of ways to fix the problems and have a successful app. Okay, one way or another, it's not gonna happen. So at this time, the most important thing is you have to cut the investment at the accurate time to avoid the waste of money here. Well, so let's jump to the fourth and the final takeaway, which is provide user a customized experience. But maybe this is the most important takeaway, by the way. So everybody loves to feel special and unique. In the app world, making user feel this way is quite important. Also, showing them that we do provide this customized experience is highly effective, especially for the post-install process. But the critical thing is, at this stage, you have to find out the exact audience of your app and align the app value with the interest of this audience from the very beginning of the funnel. Well, as you can see, funnel starts with the creative, and then product page / custom product page comes, and then it's time for onboarding, and lastly, the user is going to be seeing the paywall. So these 4 items should be customized in order to ensure the final success. Well, let's start with the first item. I want to say a couple of things here. So the most important thing with creative is test, test, test. So as big part of our job is constant experimentation, as you might also expect that it is all about creating a strong strategy from the very first moment that the user see the ad. Creative acts an important role here. Based on our experience, it is quite important to impress user within the first 3 seconds, which means hook, because this is the most engaging part of the video. Well, it's even fair to say that if you want to have a successful ad, successful creative, you have to have a strong hook part. So basically, we have to strengthen the hook part. But how? First of all, you have to express the key features of your app in just 3 seconds, which means hook. Well, as you have quite limited time here, this hook should be quite simple, because obviously you don't have time to express your feelings, your all feelings to the user. At the same time, on the other hand, you can use some catchy rhymes and questions to make the video more convincing and engaging for the user. On the other hand, it's quite important to follow trends and use them. So, because we all know how one successful creative can make significant improvements on the app performance. Long story short, please test as much as creative you can. In the end, you'll find one winner concept. Then you can start the iteration process. Well, we came to the custom product page. Well, it's a quite important thing. Whether on feature base, tied to special dates, or related to promotional offers, custom product page ensures the thematic and segmented consistency for the user who comes from the related keyword and the creatives. It also makes the user believe that the key features that they are looking for is actually truly available within these apps. And it is obviously increase the intent to installation. Okay, till now, we created high thematic consistency. The thing we have to be focused on at this point is we have to drive this consistency from the particular custom product page to onboarding and paywall. One important thing comes into mind at this point is deep linking. While using deep link, you'll be able to drive your user from the particular custom product page to the most related onboarding and paywall, which emphasize the same key values and the key features with the previous steps. Well, as you can see that this approach starts with the creative and ends with the paywall, and it's obviously encourage user to be subscriber for the app. Well, okay, so I would like to show you one example from one of our apps, which is Zona. Zona is an AI music generating app. Well, I'm going to be showing the only hook part. This is because it's the most engaging part of the video. Okay. Okay, so before we started the process, we picked a theme according to interest of our audience, which is AI rap music generating, as you see from the hook parts. So this hook is actually simple enough and express user exactly what we want to express them. Well, the user who engaged with these ads going to come to see this custom product page, which emphasizes the same key values and the key features with the creative. As you can see, there are some points that we mentioned: rap music generating, etc. Well, the user who install the app from this custom product page will come and see this onboarding and paywall, which represent the same key values and key features accordingly. So this approach is quite important. Like I said, it's encourage user to be subscriber, and it's actually quite thematic consistency. Please give a fair attention on providing user customized experience. Before I leave, I would like to introduce one of our rising star apps, which is Crea. Crea is a poster maker and AI music. Okay, I'm sorry. Crea is a poster maker and AI logo generating app. It has over than 50,000 templates available right now. If you want to give a chance to Crea, you can just scan the code, scan the QR right there. It has 3 days trials in it. Well, with the takeaways and approaches that I've been talking about in this session, Crea, in compare with 2023, Crea doubles its downloads in 2024. On the other hand, it has 3 times more proceed right now. And more importantly, it succeeds to 10% of increase in its LTV. Well, thank you for listening and having me. It's my pleasure being here. If you want to have the presentation, this is the QR code. And this is my LinkedIn profile. If you want to get connected, this is also my pleasure. Thank you for having me.